Okay. Hello, everybody. How are you? Let's see what we got here. Okay, get in the chat and ask questions and make new friends and have a good time. Now, I'm starting today, and I'm going to try every day at 1 p.m. to do a page or two from the syncopation book, or just write some, some music out so you learn how to read. All right, so today we're going to be working from the syncopation book, page 37. What I've done is I've taken a few of the measures, because I'm not going to have time to do the whole page, and I broke them down. And I showed, I have a very foolproof way of teaching this. So if you don't have a teacher and if you follow the steps, you'll be able to read by yourself. For example, if I have, first of all, there's a few things that you need to understand. Now we're on page 37 of the syncopation book. And I wrote out maybe 4 or 5 different measures and broke them all down. I do have the PDF sheet with the breakdown. If you would like to get the PDF, I will definitely send it to you. And you just have to email me, and I will put you on the emailing list, my mailing list, and you will get a PDF for every lesson that we do. Plus, you'll get notification of that week's agenda, the times and locations of the broadcast. So let me put my email in here. Okay, there you go. If you want the PDFs for today, just email me and I'll send them to you. Okay, so now, there's a few things that you have to understand. You know, I could take you to a platform of reading if you really want to learn how to read well, to do some classical music or play with a symphony orchestra or a big band. These lessons that are going to be designed for just to get an understanding of how rhythm flows and understand the concept and notation of the quarter note, the 8th note, the 16th note, and you should be pretty good at fractions. All right, and some definitions that you need to understand. Now we're going to be working with 4/4 time, and there's other time signatures we're going to be working with as well, like 2/4, 5/4, 9/4, 7/4, 6/8, 7/8, 11/8, 12/8, all the different types of time signatures. However, I need to start someplace because today's being the first lesson. I figured let me start with the syncopation book, page 37, break it down, and show you the way I approached teaching how to read. Okay, so like I said, there's certain things you need to understand. A time signature, a staff, a bar line, a double bar line, a repeat sign, definitions of 4/4, 2/4, 3/4, cut time, alla breve, all that good stuff. So it's not going to be easy to put it all into one lesson. So I've said, all right, let me do a whole series of lessons to teach reading. Now, everybody who's going to be viewing this are at different levels. They just don't know how to read, or they know how to read a little bit, and they can read well, which is okay, because we're going to revisit and sharpen your skills. And besides, you'll learn my approach to teaching. So let's start off with the time signature definition. 4/4 time, also known as common time. And it's just a simple thing. It's 4 beats to a measure. And each quarter note, and that's the important thing here, each quarter note gets one count or one beat. For example, if I play 4 quarter notes with the bass drum, okay, I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. I just played 1 measure of quarter notes with the bass drum. I play 4 measures of quarter notes with the right stick. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a measure. Now, there's 4 beats to a measure. That's what the top number is indicating. There's only 4 beats, not 5, 3.5, 8. 4 beats. That's the pulse. That's the downbeat. Now, there are 4 beats to a measure, and each quarter note gets 1 count or 1 beat. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Simple. Now, the counting system that we're going to use today is an 8th note count. The 8th note count is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I'll play that just with my right hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That was 8 strokes. But how did I get 8 strokes in 4? Here's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that was a quarter note count. I'm going to count now in 8th notes and play 8th notes with my right hand, but maintaining the pulse. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That was 1 measure of 8th notes with my hand and quarter notes with my bass drum. Now, if I'm going to play, let's say, 3 quarter notes and 2 8th notes, something happens here. And it's all mathematical. I have the 3 quarter notes coming up. I'm going to do this in an 8th note count. I'm counting 1 and, but only playing the 1 because it's an 8th note count. And if you add 1 and, that's 2 8th notes equals 1 quarter note. You divide it. Okay, so you have 1 and 2 and 3 and. Now I'm going to tag 2 8th notes on 4. 4 and. So now I have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, if you have the syncopation book and you open up to page 37, the first measure, you have an 8th note, a quarter note, another 8th note, and 2 quarter notes. If you add up all those fractions, you have 2 8ths plus 3 quarters equals 4 4 or 4 quarters. Do we understand that? Any questions on that? So if I do the first measure, I'm counting in 8th notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I'm going to play the first measure. On the snare drum, alternating strokes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Again. Slower. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, you say, well, geez, the 8th note comes first. It don't make any sense. Then you have a quarter note. Like I said, if you add up the fractions, 2 8ths and 3 quarters, you add them together, you get 4 quarters. You reduce the 2 8ths to 1 quarter, plus the 3 quarters equals 4 quarters. There's your 4 4 time. Now, when I said I have a foolproof way of writing, okay, what I have here is a sticking pattern. I gave a demonstration of the sticking pattern. Now here comes the stick control book, as always with you. No matter if you want to practice the stick control book, you should, because you're foolish if you don't. And the brilliance of George Lawrence Stone. Now, what I've done, I did a line of 8th notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But what I've done is I've taken this particular sticking pattern. Now let's just go away from the reading for a second and go on to the sticking pattern. The sticking pattern means R means right, L means left hand. So I'm going to play the sticking pattern that I come up with to read this correctly. My sticking pattern is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so now we have the first measure broken down. If I do that again, the sticking pattern, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and now I'm going to read it. The next measure is the measure of reading. So I'm going to play that measure with my right hand, and I'm going to count eighth notes, and I'm going to think about the sticking pattern just to prove, to proof it myself right, foolproof, I guess you could say. So I'm going to play just the rights and eliminate the lefts, and continue to count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So I gave you the sticking pattern, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, and I eliminate the lefts, 1 and 2. First measure, pretty simple. Now, before we could take this anywhere and fool around with it and develop coordination and have a lot of fun with this particular figure, you have to understand it first and learn how to read it. Okay, let's go to the second measure. All right, the second measure of page 37 in Ted Reed's book. I'm just going to play the line first on the snare drum. I'm going to use alternate strokes. Then I'm going to break it down. Okay, so what do we have here? Okay, get in the chat, gentlemen. Ask some questions. What I have, I'm going to play the sticking pattern. No, let me play the line first. And I'm counting now in eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2. So on and so forth. Now, again, the brilliance of George Lawrence Stone. Wow. All right, the breakdown for the sticking pattern is a straight line of eighth notes. So I have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Again, nice and slow. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Notice I have my pulse, the quarter note pulse, with the bass drum. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That is actually, I believe, line 8. I just remembered line 8 of the stick control book. So now I'm going to play that again. I'm going to count the eighth notes. And this time when I'm playing that, I'm going to eliminate all the lefts. And that's going to give me 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3. It's an easy concept, easy way to proofread that you're reading correctly. Any questions, gentlemen? Okay, like I said, I'm going to be devoting this time, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 1 p.m., to just reading. However, I do have to make an announcement. As of starting tomorrow, I've scheduled a guest instructor, guest artist, Alan Herman, and the broadcast will be free, and it will be starting at 2 p.m. and at 7:30 p.m. on this channel. And if you want to learn the level system, understand the science of how to stroke, he will provide you with all the information. So tell your friends, and come on and view it tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this YouTube channel. Okay? Now, that's the first two measures. Let's go to the third measure of page 37. Excuse me. All right. the third measure of page 37, Ted Reed's syncopation book. 2 quarter notes, eighth note, a quarter note, and an eighth note. Again, if you add all of that up, you will come up with 4 beats per measure, or 4/4 time. Okay, so I'm going to play the figure first. Don't let it all scare you. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, simple. All right, now, again, I did the sticking pattern. All right, so I have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's the sticking pattern. All right, now, I eliminate the lefts. That's going to give me the line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. There you go. 1 and 2 and. You need to learn how to read this before we could take it to another platform. All right, one more measure. No, this is the 4th measure of Ted Reed's syncopation book. It's actually the 4th and 5th measures. I think, yeah. No, it's a, I put all of them together, I think. Oh, I didn't, and I see. I go to the next page, and I don't remember, I should have this syncopation book with me. I apologize. I'll be a little bit more organized next time. Okay? Let's see. We have a figure. The next measure will be an eighth note and a quarter note, and another eighth note. You add that up, 2 eighths and a quarter gives you 2 quarters. You're going to have 1 and 2 and. And then you have, again, another eighth note, a quarter, and an eighth note. 1 and 2 and. So, sticking pattern. Slow it down. 1 and 2. That's what you have. Now, we play the figure. You have very basic. I needed to start someplace and I didn't know where to start. What I'm going to do is explain to you, we're going to continue this. There's other ways to play this. We're going to play it swung, and we're going to have some drum set application fun with reading. You know, you have all these instructional books out there, and there's some great information and some great books, but if you don't know how to read, the books are not going to do you any good. I mean, there's nothing like playing a tune and learning the tune by ear. That's fine. But don't you want to know and be creative and understand what's going on inside of the tune, or transcribe the drum parts to the tune so you can see what your favorite drummer or another drummer is doing, and you could grow from all of that. Okay, for example, if I was taking, and I'm just going to randomly play a pattern. I'm going to play, you can call this a pattern or an ostinato pattern or a vamping pattern, which I like to use. I'm going to play straight eighth notes with my left hand on the snare drum. I'm going to play my bass drum, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to play my hi-hat, 2 and 4. That's a heel to open, toe to close. Heel to open, toe to close. So 1, 2, 3, 4 with the bass drum, straight eighth notes on the snare drum, and 2 and 4 on the hi-hat. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. I refer to that 2 ways: a vamping pattern, all right, or an ostinato pattern. Ostinato means a pattern which repeats itself over and over and over again. Now, while I'm doing that, I'm going to take, I don't have, I should have, it's over on the other side of the studio here. I should have taken the syncopation book. Oh, Lord, I'm always forgetting something. And I'm going to maintain that pattern constant. And I'm going to play what is written on the floor tom-tom. Okay? One. I'm just going to, I don't memorize the page. I'm randomly going to play the right hand. Only using quarter notes and eighth notes. That's all in the syncopation book, but it's also in the stick control book. And we're going to have a lot of fun with that. And then we're going to take this particular patterns that we just learned today, and what we're going to do is go learn how to play it swung. I didn't write that out, and I didn't intend to do that today. And there's difference between straight up and down and swung. You know, you swing the note, you're playing with a jazz feel. Ding. Now what I'm doing there, and I'm not going to go into that, that's where we're going to go with this. Plus we're going to do triplet fill-ins. Let me play just the first measure again. Say you using triplet fills. And swung. No, I might as well do that. Because this is just an introductory lesson, but we're going to get intense with the reading as time progresses. I would appreciate if you have any questions. And like I said, if you want the PDF, I will mail it to you, email it to you, put you on my mailing list. All right, let's do the first line. Straight up and down. One and, not the first line, the first measure, over and over again. That's straight up and down. If I swing it, or I put triplet fills in it, and you're going to have a lot of fun with stuff like this. But like I said before, in order to take it to that platform, what you need to do is understand basic reading. The more you know about rhythm, understand how it flows inside from one bar line to another bar line. That separates the measures. You have a lot of fun and be very creative. It will open a tremendous amount of doors for you and strength. Now, I will have the metronome set up Thursday afternoon, 1 p.m. And I am going to, I'm unable to write the whole page down, but I will give you some of my writing, and we could learn from that. If we're going to basically work from the sheets that I send you, plus the syncopation book, you could even do the Buddy Rich book in the back, or Louis Bellson's reading text in 4/4, or my book in 4/4. You know, there's so much we can do with that. So before I'm going to close up, I only have until 1:30. So it's best to get into the chat, say hello, thank you, you're welcome, or Matt, I hate you, or whatever you want to say. And I will be back tomorrow. Now, tomorrow is 2 p.m. with the guest artist, Alan Herman. All right. He was a former student of Joe Morello as well. And he was a show drummer. First, he started with 10-Wheel Drive, has a few discs out there. He also did a solo disc of Out of the Box. Plus, he was Bob Fosse's drummer, Jesus Christ Superstar, the original drummer, and plus all of Bob Fosse's plays on Broadway, Dancing and Pimpin' and so on and so forth. So, with all that being said, I will be back tonight on this channel, and I will take a different, not a different approach, but it'll be a more, a lengthier lesson than it is now because they give me more time in the evening. Okay? So, any questions? I guess not. It's best to ask questions no matter, don't be embarrassed if you don't know a certain term. If you're embarrassed to step forward and not ask a question or something that you don't understand, well, that's where you're going to remain the rest of your life. It's always best to be humble and ask a question if you're not certain. Like I said, these lessons are going to be designed for the beginner, for the intermediate, and the advanced. The beginner who has no idea of the terms or how to read, it's going to be a home run here. The intermediate who has some sort of reading skills, we're going to sharpen them. And the advanced player who does know how to read, he's going to revisit his skills, perhaps, and just learn my approach of how I teach drumming, or reading rather. So with all that being said, there is no questions. I'm going to have to go. So we'll see everybody tonight, okay, at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this channel. Okay, gentlemen, thanks for stopping by. I hope this was helpful.